Welcome back to What Gets Measured, a NinjaCat podcast about marketing, performance management, metrics, and effectiveness, because what gets measured gets managed. I'm your host, Jake Sanders. Today we're talking about one of the toughest challenges in agency and enterprise marketing. How do you manage dozens or even hundreds of accounts without making every client feel like just another number? Joining me is Robb Fahrion, co-founder and CEO of Flying V Group, an agency that's grown from a startup into a multi-million-dollar business managing millions in annual ad spend across hundreds of clients. Robb has spent nearly a decade building the systems, processes, and relationships that make multi-account marketing work at scale. In this conversation, we'll hear why Robb thinks process is a real competitive advantage, how trust is built through experience, the critical role dashboards play in relationships, and what agencies can learn about scaling expertise without sacrificing the client experience. So whether you're running an agency, leading an in-house team, or trying to bring order to marketing chaos of any size, there's plenty here to take in. So, let's go. Robb Fahrion, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, Jake. Yeah, appreciate you doing this. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. The Flying V, we're in a formation. We're not guitars. We had that conversation. We've moved on.
We've moved on.
So this is exciting. Doing research for this, looking up Flying V and your success as an agency, 450 clients, managing millions in annual ad spend. I mean, you're working at a pretty big clip. This is about multi-account marketing, like how you treat a bunch of accounts like they're your only one. I just wanted to get your sense from your history of going from the beginning to scaling up. At what point does marketing stop being about campaigns and it becomes some operational challenge?
Great question. Yeah, we've been doing this and building Flying V Group since 2016. So coming up on our 10th year. And I think early on, we didn't have that figured out, right? You were running a lot of different channels or maybe even an individual channel just in a silo. Right. And so what we saw over the years was, hey, a lot of these channels work in unison together, or a lot of times they're leveraging one another, or they should be. How about that? Leveraging one another. And so you need to be using multiple platforms, models, etc., to perform. But then, yes, you're exactly right. Okay, great. How do we now facilitate the team across all these different channels, the content type that all these different channels needs, how we get the content in the first place and surface it. So yes, I'd say more now than ever, it's operational, and especially where we're at, the marketing's kind of the easy part. It's getting it all organized or finding an organization that values that organizational component, the process, the automation, the guardrails, and those checks and balances to actually allow you to move in alignment fast enough to actually generate any sort of results.
Totally. And so I'm wondering, you take on a bunch of different clients, and it is sort of hand to hand. I mean, marketing, it depends. That's on our tombstone. That's on our birth announcement. It all depends from cradle to grave. But what I think is interesting, and I wonder if you have some insight here, do you have a sense when you talk to a client initially in that briefing stage that they are going to be an operational nightmare, or these people have their SHIT together, or does it matter sometimes? Is that like, do you know what I mean? Like
it starts in, and I've been using this word a lot lately, the alignment as an agency, right? So yes, finding out those key indicators, whether it's revenue, headcount, or just understanding how these people think about marketing and advertising. Do they see it as an expense or an investment? That's generally your easy tell, to where you want to obviously be with those individuals and groups that understand it's more of the investment. So yeah, I think there's a lot of that going on in our discovery process, our proposal process, our pricing obviously plays into that quite a bit as well. Because yeah, as we always say this, as critical as it is, of course, for us to align with what they need, there's also an element of agency world that they need to align with how we operate.
But
Some
I'm
people
like
don't like to hear
already I'm scared because don't tell them that, Rob, because you're going to scare people out of the room. Most people are like, whatever you want. And you talk to a lot of salespeople. I don't know what the process is, but you're like, what did the salespeople promise them?
Right.
And you're like, well, we just wanted to get them in, you know? And I think a lot of people want to sign the business, want to get the interest, need to establish that in the front. How do you say no to that? Have you ever had an instance where you're like, nah?
100%. Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
tell me more about that, because a lot of people would be like, oh, Rob's saying no to money.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it really is having a process in terms of how you do things and how you are going to determine whether they're qualified or not. Right. I mean, I think some of the easiest things early days is, can they get on the call? And do they show up, and are they present? And when I ask them the questions, do I feel like they're giving me straightforward answers, or is it the constant runaround? And, you push it further and further through these different gates and marks, but even all the way through the proposal, how are they handling those negotiations back and forth? And, even one where it was almost to the very finish line, and I had to have a conversation with them like, look, you've basically got me to the point where you want me to rewrite my entire MSA. Why should I do this? Or what's going on your side? What do I need to know about your past experiences that are making me do this, right? Knowing that we've done it very successfully for a lot of other people, and no one has ever asked me these questions, and their retainers are 10x yours, right? So that will be a instance where you might walk away from the table a little bit quicker.
It reminds me, I was just thinking of somebody who they're dating, and the first thing they do is go to couples therapy. And you're like, what happened in the past that requires us now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how damaged are these goods? But I think that's key to notice the tensions. It's key to figure that out. Marketing to me is relationships. How much do you find that just having a great rapport and seeking to establish a relationship with people, do you find that that's the way to do it? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, why do people talk themselves into these rationalizations when they need to be working on relations?
Spot on, right? And we're working in this very interesting spot, right? Marketing, and you think about AI, everyone wants to talk AI all the time. You look at marketing, that's the one area that can be disrupted the fastest and the easiest. It always has been low barrier of entry. And what we're seeing is just the faster AI is moving, the more important and critical it is to build trusted relationships and being available to have a conversation or meet in person, to sit across from the table from them and understand or get a better understanding of whether or not this is someone you can trust. This is someone you can get into a 6-month, 12-month, maybe even longer type of relationship. And so I think that's really been lost over the last couple of years for obvious reasons. And if you go even pre AI, it was COVID, which brings a lot of the same challenges.
Right.
People doing stuff now from everywhere with very little to any regulation or guidance. And so, we're just seeing marketing become more relational than ever across the board. Everything, and any industry.
And every industry. And then when we get back to this idea of scale, this was all to say relationships are at the core. Right. And so when you're thinking of doing things at scale, maintaining relationships at scale across the teams, across, like what you said, across teams, across channels, across account managers, across, the biz dev experience versus the client experience, onboarding, I mean, it's so insane. How do you keep giving accounts no matter how many people are there, how do you feel like giving them, like they're giving that, not a cookie cutter experience, but maybe that branded experience of relationships? How do you do that at scale?
I think it's two words: communication being the first one, and the second one being accountability. And so for us, one of the best things that we see that we offer is we're on top of communication. Our clients, we push to have them know where things are at all times, whether it's a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly meeting. We hold our team to a standard that we show up to that meeting. We not only show up to that meeting, but now you're transitioning into the accountability. We have the report. The report's accurate. It's been QA'd. It has the new recommendations we need for the client. And so that's what, going back to that's what builds a strong relationship, is trust. And so our clients then trust that no matter what channel, whether it's SEO, paid media, social media marketing, Rob, Brennan, Tyler, and their team is going to show up, right? Number one. And then number two, they're going to show up with something of value. They're going to listen, ask questions, give me my report.
And I think what I was just thinking of is, oh man, trust is an experience. It isn't something that you're taking away. And I think trust is like, well, you can trust because I gave you the reports. And you're like, no, that isn't enough. I think there's something about trust being a behavior, because I was just thinking, man, if I got the reports and they all look good and they have the KPIs and I put a little thing like executives, take a look at this, campaign folks, I added the insights. Trust is there. Trust is there. But you said something interesting where these people's names are going to talk to me about this, take my questions. Trust is a behavior, but somehow we stop at the dashboard. How do you think dashboards and metrics are replacing trust?
They're not, right?
Well, are they?
They're a tool. They really are. But the more you're finding out, if you don't actually have somebody that you trust monitoring them, they're probably not giving you the right data. So that's the first issue. But yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it with the word experience, right? So yeah, you have these AI tools, you have all this automation nowadays, but what's the experience that you are getting when something does? When something's on fire, and who are you calling? Who are you emailing?
Right.
Who will help you through whatever that giant situation is that you didn't expect? And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's that experience, again, that communication, accountability. I mean, you take those three things right there, and you really have how you're winning out in a variety of different industries. I was thinking about CPG when we were having this conversation, right? It started to scale up in COVID into AI, and you had these brands, and they were scaling no matter what they were selling. Rapid, if it looked cool, people bought it. Now, the number one thing people are asking is, wait a minute, who's actually behind this business, right? Is this business just the same consumer-driven product that comes out of the same factory, or is there a reason that actually I should buy this versus that, right? So no matter what it is you're selling, right? Service, obviously high trust, high visibility necessary, but even all the way down to a $3 soda or pop, whatever it is you buy, popcorn at the store, whatever it might be, right? There's an element of trust.
Well, and so this gets to the next question about the different types, because, yeah, fast-moving consumer goods, everyone takes marketing principles from them. And not enough. I wish I could have as much fun as these soda and chip marketers, bro. They are having such a great time. But now you're selling like real estate stuff, and you're like, it's dry. But, not to say, everybody has unique problems. Please call Flying V. But different verticals like healthcare, finance, real estate, renewable energy. I mean, this is you've worked in all these different sectors, other dozens of different industries. After hundreds of engagements with these, like when we're talking about the data specifications, like how we're working multiple accounts, is there something true that's across all of these verticals, and is there something that's super distinct?
Yes, I believe there is. So we really do believe over the years, as we've built up an understanding of how these platforms work, understanding of how structured campaigns work versus unstructured campaigns, that there is a right and wrong way to basically build the campaign, deploy the campaign, manage the campaign, optimize the campaign. So you look at, again, whatever it might be you're selling, 60 to 70% of that, you're going to set up conversions the same way and tie them out, right? Yeah, it might be B2B and you're tracking a lead
Service
versus a purchase, but you're
Sure.
still going to tie it out to some action. When you're creating the ads, no matter what ads you're creating, you're going to test a certain number of them as a part of that campaign to understand if it's working or not. So what changes, though, is that other 30%. It's, yes, who is the consumer or who is the target customer persona? What expertise does the brand or the company that we're working with bring to the table that can help them carve through all the noise and say, hey, we're actually different in a world full of flavored water for whatever reason that might be. So, and then we're getting feedback, and that's where communication comes in. So it's, all right, we've now set up these systems and these processes on top of your business or within your business or as a silo in certain, with bigger companies, right? We'll do maybe just one piece, but you're at least going to get consistent return on data and understanding. And then we're going to take back feedback, communicate with you, and make the necessary adjustments and changes together, and then report whether or not they worked or did not.
So, and you get me thinking about like diversification of specialty focus within a marketing agency.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think everyone says, bring us your business. We'll sell your widgets. We'll sell your water. We'll sell your, whatever. We'll sell it all. But do you have inside your team, these are the healthcare folks, like they crush in this zone because they have experience. They work with the accounts. They just know what to say. Do you help develop that prowess inside, or do you want people to be sort of Swiss Army marketers? Like, I want you to be able to talk to these 70% generic part.
Yeah, it's a great question, Jake. And I think it is a little bit of both, right? But 100%, we are strategically aligning certain people in instances, right, that have worked with a similar type of client and have performed and shown results, right? Yes.
Relationship, they have a relationship.
They know that they know the jargon, right? They know medical, for example. You cannot work with a doctor in the same way that you might work with an entrepreneur or a lawyer or an insurance or accounting guy.
They're looking at those things. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
100%. So it's that relatability, familiarity, and experience, right? Which is obviously your expertise. But in our space, marketing and just technology in general, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Things are going to shift at any moment. Medical, one of the things that I notice of people that work best in medical is when things do have to just flip on their heads. Why? New legislature comes down, new laws.
Oh, big time.
Medicare, Medi-Cal all of a sudden changes how you can even make money. Next thing you need to do is go find a brand new ad strategy because the old one is completely irrelevant now. Based on who we might or might not be able to target, coming from a decision that we have absolutely zero control of. So yeah, that it's that combo, and that's not a cop out, right? But it is finding that element, and my job is putting them in that position to succeed more than anything.
And can I ask another question? How do you? Because I was just thinking, a lot of people don't have opinions about marketing. I mean, not the people who are working inside an agency. I mean, we love this stuff, but a lot of people don't have an opinion outside of just make the number go up.
Right.
Whatever makes the number go up. why you just mentioned if you're working in healthcare, you got to look at legal stuff. If you're working over here, you have to think about this. How how do you develop an opinion about marketing if that just isn't financial? Like, why do people give a fuck other than making money? Why?
Yeah, great point. I think it's one, structured data. So you actually do have the ability to show what you're saying. Everything, people want everything to go up, right?
Well, of course.
But yeah, and then the difference, and this is where going back to that fit, who do you actually want to be working and aligned with? So why are they in the business that they're in? What is their ethos? Does it align with our ethos as a business? Because marketers, right, we're going to help businesses grow. Well, trust me, I've had these situations. There were instances we're making money for so and so, and I don't feel good about it, right? I know how they operate. I know how they treat their people. I know how they've treated my team or employees, just based on when things aren't good, really showing their true face and
Right.
those sorts of things. So, I think that's where we take a stand too. We try and obviously come with as data-driven ideas and new ways of thinking about marketing and advertising, tying it out. We talk about that a lot. Monthly recurring net income. No one's talked about that prior to us because it didn't exist, but it's something we were like, okay, well, it's not even just about driving revenue. It's about creating predictable income and profitability more than anything. And no one was talking about it that way, right? But then, again, going back, it's alignment, relationship. I want to win with people that I like doing business with, that I believe in what they're doing. Like, that's what gets me excited about waking up every day, is working with a lot of others that, have their own dreams, passions, and want to do it the way we think is the right way. And we get to choose what that is.
Right. And I love how you get to have an opinion, but you back it up with data. Now, one of the things I'm thinking about, you got franchise businesses and stuff. Is there something that you've worked with when somebody comes on board that you were shocked to think, well, they didn't know that multi-account marketing, like roll-up reporting, like all of the benefits of seeing data work across different locations, collecting sentiments. Was there a shocking moment? Maybe give us a Cinderella multi-account story, and then sort of a horror story if you have one.
Yeah, sure.
Don't name names.
Yeah, I won't name names, but first one I think of is a university, right? So you had a university, and you think about that, it's a collective group of people that are all kind of aligned behind, a location or a mascot or maybe a football
Tons
team.
of interesting marketing aspects.
Yeah, but then in between, you obviously have all these different disciplines. You've got your band people, you've got your business guys and gals, you've got finance and accounting, you've liberal arts, creative writing, drama, film, you name it. And so, what we found was, hey, you really did, even though everybody else is in the same boat and we're all collectively together, you have to have these individual disciplines and be able to speak to them in their own language too. So just because they're a part of the same audience doesn't mean that the same message is going to work. So we created these individual funnels based on the pages of the websites that they were on. So if you were a business major, you'd get business content because we tagged you and know what pages. And so they were just really advertising to everybody, hey, come here because we're cool and have a big football stadium and a brand, right?
Right.
So that really changed the game there. And then horror stories was, I think, and this is where, as an agency, part of our job is to really take the reins and bridle that horse when you need to, was a group that they were just so hungry and aggressive and wanted to just scale, but they saw one thing work and they said, put it all there, right? And so we got heavy aggressive with one channel of ad spend, and what happened was we just burnt cash because they hit that diminishing point of return too quickly. And what would we have been better off doing? Probably saving 20% of the budget that we spent, and then at that time, making sure we had optionality with distribution of ad channels. So we didn't have Meta set up. We didn't have TikTok, LinkedIn, to where you could have diversified that spend across those channels.
So are you saying at different locations there was different channels driving different interest for the same place?
And that's exactly right. That's
what?
Exactly right.
Well, that sounds like marketing, man. Oh, wow. That is fascinating. And if you didn't have the kind of understanding to see multi-accounts maybe where they don't even exist.
That's right.
I think that was interesting that you broke out a multi-account approach to thinking about the different disciplines at a university.
Right.
You could do something similar to Arby's with their potato cakes. I'm following this with such interest because, one, I went there 2 years ago. They didn't have the potato cakes. And they were like, we took them off. And I was like, I was about to drive through that Arby's. I was like, what? Because I talked to my daughter in the back and I was about to share a legacy.
Yeah,
like,
man. I'm an Arby's fan too. So I haven't had potato cakes though.
Oh, yeah. We're going to delete that. Okay, but anyway. But the point is, they took them off, and I don't know why, but then they brought them back to much aplomb. Everybody loves it. And you know how people, McRibs, you do this thing. Give us a little, take it away. But they have now filed a lawsuit against themselves that if they ever take the hash brown off, they can get sued. And I was just like, what an amazing thing, because yes, we have the meats, Arby's, we have this, but they have created this pocket for the hash brown to live in this way. So you start thinking of all of these different ideas, and it's so tantalizing as a marketer because people would say, oh, I got to sell blank. Well, have you thought of all the different multi-accounts that are inside blank? Right. Like this isn't just a healthcare brand. It's a wellness type thing. How do you talk to me about the creative process across accounts? Like how do you guys and gals get in there and think creatively about like accounts that have so many different touch points?
Right. Yeah, there's that balance as well. And I think that's where our experience and just kind of knowing what that blend is from a budgeting perspective. So that's where we like to speak the language of the dollars and cents. And it's not that we're opposed to high-end creative or spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on creative. It's just you have to make sure that it's balanced properly. So if you're going to spend $100,000, well, you probably better have 5x maybe the amount of ad spend behind it to then get it out and distribute it. So
bullshit.
Or just break it up, right? All right, don't spend it all in one place. Let's maybe test it over 5 more bite size that we could push out a little bit depending on, and then come back and double down. So we're definitely still data driven there, but we understand the messaging, the creative, right? That's the human element, the psychological element. But we got to make sure that we can actually give it that chance to breathe and be seen, because you can have the best creative in the world, but if nobody sees it, right, it's the tale as old as time.
Just getting so mad. I was like, I hope my head doesn't explode, because people don't give things a chance to cook. It is insane. And we're change it up, change the slogan, change the tagline, change this, change that. Afterwards, nobody knows what the hell you've done because you are a patchwork, just like a clown wearing every funny thing you collected for the past 6 months. Oh my God, stop. How do you get people to stop? Like, is this a data-driven thing again, Rob? Are you going to tell me that you're data-driven?
It's not at all. It's, again, if we're not actually failing as a part of what we're doing too, then we're not doing our job. So you do find this additive nature that we want to add things on top of what we're already doing. We want to do it strategically. We want to think about it, but then just make sure we're testing it too. I spoke with a gal last Friday. Their approach was, hey, if you have a new channel that we're actually not touching right now with either our own team or our own vendors, please, I want and need to know about it, because we're constantly needing to find new channels to add, new users, new viewers, whatever, again, traffic your goal might be. So, I think just thinking in those ways of everything we're doing, we want to amplify. Or if you are adding something, how can we repurpose? How can we use it as leverage on other channels? All right.
Repurpose, leverage, redistribute, repackage. People
Boom.
want brand new, brand new,
Boom,
brand new.
right?
How do
Okay.
you tell them you test? You
Yeah.
test.
Yeah.
You don't say no.
Yeah.
Oh. You don't just say no. Get out of here. Quit being stupid. No.
Sometimes.
Well, so here's a question.
Yeah.
You can test, you can test, you can test, you can test. When do you say we're good? Like everyone says, well, try it out, try it out. When do you ever say nah? When do you ever say no?
That's that's where you agree on those measurements. Okay.
You got to get to a metric that both of you you all know it's a no.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm like, well, what is success? What's not success? How, and that's as a part of the biz dev when I'm selling too, right? Okay. How are you going to hold my team accountable? What are the metrics? Are they reasonable based on what you're trying to accomplish or not? So yeah, lining up that measurement, just understanding how you're going to track it and tie it out. Those are all things throughout that onboarding process. Again, no matter what we're selling, how much is it worth? What's the lifetime value? Do we have it tied out and tracked? Yes, we do. Okay, great. We're confident that we can have some success here. Let's put this out in the market and see what everybody says.
And can we then say that maybe what process is at a multi-account level is relationship management?
Because that's the other piece is as an agency, you also need that buy-in from whoever that person is on that side
For sure.
to help you do your job. And then the better that relationship is, guess what? Hey, guys, I'm seeing this. Do this time. Or here's what the numbers look like. Amazing. Keep the pedal down, and we can actually get a true barometer of whether or not we're being successful.
Oh my God! Because if you take it wrong, you're going to take it personal. But if you get the process tight, it's going to be staying on the work. Because if your process is loose, you're going to take things personally, and that is going to kill you.
That's exactly right.
This is great. Okay, here. So we mentioned AI at the beginning. Of course, we have to talk about it. AI, automation. When you talk about processes, you're talking about relationship, all these beautiful things. We have more automation, more data, more tools than we've ever had before. What still can't be automated when you're managing marketing across many different businesses? What can't be automated?
Yeah, so we've obviously talked a lot about the relationships and people element, and I even double down, and you said the word, that experience element. So we could have the best marketing system, the best drip sequence, the best retargeting, the best funnel, CTAs, whatever. But guess what? What happens when they call? Does someone pick up the phone? Do you even answer? If they do have to leave a voicemail, do you call them back in an hour or 3 days? When they get on that first discovery call with your team, now it's on you, right? Do you show up? Are you in an office? Is your camera on? Do you know even what the call is about and any research that you might have done? So I think that's where you still have to close that gap between, okay, yeah, AI can do all this automation and deep tech and get them to a certain point, but there's always going to be that human element that really does drive it over the finish line more often than not, especially B2B, right? Relational. Yes, more elements on the B2C side too, like we talked about earlier with who's behind these brands.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just that experience. And same thing, even customer service on product base. You buy something, you get it, you don't like it. The determination you probably have of whether or not you will buy again is, was it easy to return it? Were they accommodating? Did they even listen to the reason why I didn't have a good experience in the first place? A restaurant, same example. Okay, what happened? Maybe they were down a couple people. All right, you might give it, you look at the positives of the experience. You liked the drinks. You liked the ambiance. Okay, we'll come back and give the food maybe one more try because they were honest with us. They gave us a free, whatever it might be. You name it. I don't know. I've never worked in restaurants, but I'm assuming
but you're approaching it as most marketers don't, which is from a consumer lens. I think we spend a lot of time in marketing to avoid thinking like the lowly consumers.
Right.
And then You
Yeah.
fail to realize when you go to Target, you are not reading people's brand stories. You
Right.
are not comparing like the brand narratives between two things. You're saying, what's the cheapest refried beans?
Yeah.
And I guess I like green. I mean, we would be horrified to know what's actually going on in consumers' minds, other than when you trap them in a $40 room and you have them compare the societal benefits of two different macaroni and cheeses. You're like, which one makes you feel elevated politically? And they're like, this one.
This one.
This is Satan's mac and cheese.
That's too good.
So
That's
anyway,
too good.
but I love market reflection, consumer awareness, thinking about relationships across different areas. But the process is so key. The people are so key. And
Yeah.
I think we landed on experience. But all of this is great.
One more on that too, just Jake, a little
Okay.
further. I think from our angle too is that marketing for us is really the tool and the vehicle in the sense that we're very entrepreneurial. So, we're coming to the table of tell me about this business. How do you make money? Not just drive revenue. When we're determining what to market across your product stack, well, which one's the most profitable? Or which one has the biggest market that maybe we haven't tapped into that, someone's been saying for the last year, hey, if we would just focus a little bit more time and attention there, we'd make 10x or 10% more on top of what we're already making. So that's where you're strategic. And it's like, you get in, it's a lot of times too, it's got to be crawl, walk, run, sprint. So people just try now with AI, everyone's like, oh, I got to be doing everything everywhere all the time. And it's like, well, you got to start small and then grow, expand, right? Tie certain make sure they don't work before you move on to something else, because it's that meme you've seen where the guy's digging for the diamonds, the one guy turns around and he had just gone another month, you would have seen it through. So, and that's where we're very process driven as well, of like, hey, here's what we're going to do in the first 90 days.
Yeah, we're going to see it through. I think that's a benefit. I mean, So giving people a sense of timeline, autonomy, being so serious with the briefing and the onboarding, because downstream you're about to get a whole bunch of messes. It seems like you really make sure the alignment is up front. But I love your thinking of multi-accounts being everywhere, just inside disciplines, inside of an idea, inside of a company, inside of everything. If you had to give one person one piece of advice on sort of thinking about multiple accounts in marketing at one time, what would your one piece of advice be?
You have to go out and have conversations with the people that you're going to be working with in those accounts and in those verticals, right? So if it's, hey, healthcare, go talk to healthcare CEOs, see what they care about, and then go talk to the director of marketing and see what he or she might think about, because it's going to be two very different things, but a lot of times they really are going to the same direction. But the director of marketing, their challenge is going to be, okay, how do I get the CEO to actually give me 30 minutes of his day to write a letter to the organization or to our audience or prepare a new deck based on new research and information, right? So, yeah, I think you just have to have those conversations, lead with curiosity, right? And that's where you're going to find the answers, is just by what are your pain points? How are you measuring? How are you not? What do you wish you have that you don't already have? I mean, all the basics.
Robb,
All the basics.
But what I have earlier on, and we'll get off the call, okay? We'll end. If people are bored, you could turn off the podcast, okay? One of the things that I discovered early on in my marketing career was phone conversations with people. And everyone's like, what is it? What is it? Well, I'll tell you, because you don't need to plug anything in. You don't need to pay any tokens. You don't even need any weird platform. You just need a phone. And you pick up the phone and you talk to your customers. And I know it sounds insane. No one does it. So I don't know. I've given a couple talks at marketing conferences. I asked this question at everyone. Only a handful of people ever raised their hand who has had a phone conversation with their customers or clients in the last 30 days. None of them.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy.
Why? What? I love that your one piece of advice is the one damn thing I've been saying for the last 10 years as a marketer. You will get everything you need when you talk with your face to a client or a customer. Why don't people believe this? Why aren't people doing this?
Spot on. And there shouldn't be excuses either, because like, I'm not necessarily the type. Have I done it? Sure. Pick up the phone, call. Or, you got to address it head on. Yeah, that a lot of times came just over the years and getting tougher more than anything. But it's find an alternative. You know what I like to do? I like to go to coffee. So on LinkedIn, when I try and connect with someone, that's my first step, right? Will you go grab a coffee with me? I pay for it more often, and I just start to learn about their business. I don't come wanting to sell, thinking about selling, because oftentimes it's not the right time. Marketing works in you're coming up to the year end, you're thinking about it, or depending on if it's a priority or not. Some start planning for it in quarter 2 for the next year, right? Who knows when it might be. So I think if you just lead with value, my big thing's community. So we have actual offices with people that come to the office, because we've found collaboration, creativity flows faster, communication. So even just, our ability to get stuff done faster for our clients is a competitive advantage, which kind of sounds crazy nowadays, right?
No. Well, you're not waiting for a Slack and you don't know where that person is. They asynchronous. Are they out of office or are they out of office?
100%.
No, you just lean down the hall and you're like,
and we do have remote too. So it's that blend, but it's at least okay with remote. We're very on top of what are your hours. It's okay if you're off. We just need to know what that response loop is going to look like.
It's just beautiful, because it's nice to talk to somebody and have a conversation and share with people just the importance of having a chat. And I am so grateful that you gave your time to us and the audience. If people want to connect with you and learn more about you, Robb, how can they do that?
Yeah, Jake, I love that. I think I look back at my career, and honestly, a lot of all the good things that have happened have just started with that could be a podcast, right? In itself, just a chat. So anyone that would love to chat more, LinkedIn, my name is where you can connect with me directly. I'll get you my email address for sure. I'm also on Instagram and X. And then for our company, Flying V Group, flyingvgroup.com. We have a ton of great content, information, some lead magnets if you're interested. Get subscribed to our newsletter, and then all of our handles at Flying V Group as well. And I just really appreciate the opportunity and the thoughtful questions and dynamic conversation for sure.
Cheese or chocolate?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Cheese or chocolate?
Definitely chocolate, yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know. You caught me actually there. But definitely chocolate. Sweet tooth at heart. I do absolutely love cheese because I drink wine, but if I had to, chocolate.
Cheese only gets a mention because of the wine. Okay, anyway. Oh, here we go. I'm asking serious ones. Godzilla or King Kong?
Ooh. All right, I'm going to take a minute here.
I thought it would be easy.
I'm going to go Godzilla. I think I always had a propensity. I like the Ninja Turtles, right? So kind of keep it in the reptile category.
And it turns out like Godzilla's good. Like we're in this whole thing, like all of the bad people are secretly just aggrieved. Godzilla's just got an axe to grind. Okay. So anyway, no, I think he protects us from the other monsters. Anyway. Okay, we're moving on. Chill by the lake or chat by the fire?
Ooh, man. That is a tough. I gotta go chill by the lake. Yeah, so Lake Tahoe's near and dear to my heart. So Yeah.
If you have a lake in mind, of course, because a fire can be anything that you've taken from your ex in the closet and you burn it, and then you keep your hands warm around your revenge fantasies.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
around the oil drum.
I'm just kidding. It's like at the end he told me everything wrong with him. Okay, anyway, there's 3 more: tree house or a fort.
Fort. Yeah.
Fort. Easy.
Yeah.
With treehouse, I'll see you in 3 months.
I mean, yeah, I never got a treehouse as a kid, maybe, so the forts were the options that we made work. But yeah, it's nostalgic.
My treehouse was somewhere in the alley. Like, I don't know. Anyway, all right.
In a ditch. I found a ditch.
Enjoy it.
A bush that had a little potential
ditch house,
door.
lean-to, real Bear Grylls shit. Anyway,
yeah, exactly.
2 more. Smooth jazz or dental work.
So,
I like smooth jazz.
My
so
mom
don't
was
say
a dental
anything,
hygienist, so I understand maybe where someone's coming from. But yeah, smooth jazz all day long.
and just because you love it or you hate dental work?
I don't mind dental work actually, because I know, your teeth are very important. People don't realize it. Yeah.
And then so kick on that smooth jazz. That's the attitude. Love it. Okay, and finally, oh man, this is probably going to be easy. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
So if somebody says Pepsi, okay, are you like, no?
No, not at all. And there are different degrees of Pepsi that I don't mind, but I'm more on the diet side. And Diet Pepsi's their one that's just, it's got issues. But I like a cherry Pepsi. I actually sometimes will take a Pepsi over a regular Coke every now and again. So.
Woo! Rob's gonna get some mail, bro. He's gonna get some mail. They're like, what? Why'd you say that?
I'm easygoing, man.
I know, too easygoing.